So I went to a conference last month that had to deal with implementing gender responsive HIV and AIDS programming with women and girls in the US. And I thought it was really interesting. It had a lot of good speakers, a lot of good information. It was great for networking. A lot of the handouts that they gave had good statistics to use in different presentations or slideshows, and it was really good for getting ideas just about what other people were doing in their communities, and incorporating or thinking about things that you could incorporate maybe into the work that you're doing. But it was really one of those inspiring conferences that for me that you go to and I get fired up about the things that I enjoyed, as well about the things that sparked in my mind, like, why is it that we encounter every single conference it seems that I go to? There is a review on the conference that was already done, and the main thing that I remember from that review is the fact that the youth voice really wasn't strongly represented, so that although there were plenty of speakers, there weren't a lot of youth, which I think is very important when you're addressing programming with women and girls, that you get the input of the people that you're servicing, which means if you want to service youth, you need the young voice. Um, One of the things that caught my attention when I was at the conference is that several of the speakers were talking about some of the elements that are factors in, we have to consider in thinking why certain populations have a high rate of incidence with people with HIV and AIDS. And, discuss poverty and access to health care. And religion often comes up in that conversation because it is something that is so integral in so many people's lives, that if you are addressing HIV and AIDS and all of the matters that go along with that, such as self-esteem and partner communication and all of those things, religion affects people's decision making. So if you want to talk about the decisions that people need to make, what is influencing decision making? So the thing that caught my attention was that there seemed to be such a unified voice that religion was a negative in the decision making process. And as I thought about it, religion is defined so differently by different people. So that, some people experience religion in a very confident and comfortable way that gives them hope and guidance. And other people experience religion as a set of rules that dictates and has been used throughout history to degrade people and to keep people in poverty in certain instances, to continue racism in others. And for some people, they find spirituality to be how they define spirituality to be more of something, liberating for them. But as I thought about it, especially as we discuss sexual health and mentioning religion or spirituality, um, whichever term or definition is more relevant to you, just thinking about how if it is such an important and integral part of people's lives, then it would only behoove us to see how we can use that in our message. Um, and oftentimes I think that it's not a us and them situation. It's not, you know, the people who are volunteers or have made it our careers to do sexual and reproductive health versus, the community who are, a religious set of people. No, I am a sexual health peer educator, and I am also a person of faith. And for me, my faith, my religion, my spirituality drives me to want to encourage people to talk about partner communication, to want to talk about contraceptives and being able to, take the necessary steps to do harm reduction, and to really listen to your body, listen to your heart, as you're, connecting to someone else and trying to figure out, hey, what does sex mean for you? Does sex mean that we actually are like in a relationship? Or if we're having sex together, does that mean like we aren't having sex with other people? I find that my faith can be incorporated in that message, and especially when it comes to reducing hate crimes. And so, just in that conference and in general in this work that we do, it bothers me that faith and religion so often as deemed as a negative as we go on in this work, or as we experience, you know, teenage years, young adult years, trying to embrace our sexuality or understand our sexuality. And I wanted to highlight that Advocates for Youth does have a spiritual corner, where this basically a page with listings of organizations that incorporate both sexual and reproductive health with faith. So that, and it's not just one faith in particular, but it's with the understanding that as beings, if we are going to address sexual and reproductive health effectively, then we have to allow people to bring their faith and not feel like they are going to be bashed for being people of faith. And many religions do teach various things about some of the hot topics, such as same-sex marriage and, abstinence and things of that nature. But when you break it down, if a person's faith is that important to them, if you come in with a message saying that your faith is wrong and you need to erase everything that you've learned from childhood and your generational history of having people of faith in your family is wrong, then really, how effective is that? But if you can find a way, if we can find a way to understand various faiths and what they teach, and how people who practice that faith, how they interpret and internalize that and use that in spreading the message about all of these important things that go on internally and externally. And so I really appreciated the conference, even though I got way off of the conference. I really appreciated the conference for that, just to kind of re-energize me in thinking about, how I, as a person of faith, can try to bring faith more into the message, so that, those that I'm speaking with don't feel like, they have to leave their faith out of the box. Else, if they mention it, then they're going to be bashed or stereotyped, thinking if I identify with this faith, then automatically everyone's going to think that I also believe X, Y, and Z, when that's not the case. So I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and even though I may not agree with everything that I said at any conference, or things like that, I always appreciate it when it can stir something in me, to get me to thinking, and for that I appreciated it.